Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Illegal Alien Racing. I'm out at Dallas Karting Complex and over my shoulder is my brand new used Lando Norris kart. I haven't driven it yet. I bought it about a month ago from Edwin. If you're familiar with the channel, you've probably seen Edwin in a few of the older videos. He decided to sell all his karting stuff and get out of the sport, and I gladly picked up his equipment. He's meticulous about his equipment, takes really good care of it. This kart only has about 4 hours on the chassis. The engine's still my KA100 from the Sodi Kart that I had. I just switched the engines onto this one. So we're about to go out in just a few minutes and let's see how this thing drives. Here's what the kart looks like. It's number 221, which is a number Edwin likes to use. I'm gonna peel those off and probably put number 32 on there since that was the number of my very first kart. I took the engine off my Sodi and put it on this kart here. It's a KA100. Here's the seat. I'm gonna show you the installation process a little bit later. I like the color of the accelerator, brake pedal, and the heel bar. It's a nice gold color, just looks really nice. And of course it has rear brakes only. Now I got a tip from Mike and Sean at DKC. Right here is where you pour in the brake fluid. You can unscrew both of these to pour it in. They told me to put tape over them because if you don't, sometimes those caps can come off and you'll lose them. So I thought that was a really good tip that I didn't know. I'm not a big fan of the front fairing. You can see that it's split in the middle there, and I'm assuming that's for aerodynamics. It also has a bit of a bow to it that you can see in this shot right here. So initially, not a huge fan of it, but as time has progressed, it is kind of growing on me just a little bit. And I like it more than I did before, but totally not in love with that look. This did come with a Micron 5S, which I guess is better than a Micron 5. There is some damage on the rear bumper from an incident the kart was in prior to me buying it, but it's not that big of a deal, and I'm sure it'll get beat up a little bit more as I race it. We're gonna fire this kart up and take it out for the very first ride. In this first session, I wanna make sure everything's working properly on the kart, and I wanna get just a general feel for what this kart feels like to drive. What I'm gonna do starting out is just slide the kart back and forth like if I'm trying to warm the tires up, just to see what this kart feels like. And it looks pretty slick out there, and it is. And if you watched any of the prior videos, you know it is pretty slippery out there still. Now DKC, you can see right here, they've started to grind down some of the top layer to try to get more grip on this track. I'm gonna talk more about that later and show you the south track and what that looks like right now. I think you'll be pretty excited to see it. I know I am, so stay tuned for that a little bit later. So this is later on in this opening lap. I'm gonna let everybody go by and make sure nobody's behind me. And I'm gonna accelerate and then hit the brakes. I wanna see what the brakes feel like since I've never tried them out before. So I immediately can tell that these brakes feel different than the brakes on my Sodi Kart. On my Sodi Kart, they're pretty soft, so meaning I have to push them down really far to get them to lock up. This one, it does have some play. There is some softness there, which I do like, but it feels like I don't have to push the brakes in very far to get them to the point where they lock up. Now Sean did adjust the accelerator and the brake pedal to me. I'm 5'9". So I think that has a lot to do with the feel of it. On the Sodi Kart, I never had those brake pedals adjusted. Just whoever had the kart before me, I don't know how tall they were, but I just left them alone and just went with that. But automatically this kart feels a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable in regards to the pedals for me. One thing I noticed too in this session was that the Micron there, which is the computer on the steering wheel, it's just kind of has a static display. It's not changing, and I'm used to getting EGTs, which is exhaust gas temperatures, and just some other data, and I didn't configure the Micron for that. And so I come in a little bit later and try to get the Micron display to adjust to something a little bit that I'm more used to, and I'm not getting the exhaust gas temperature reading, which I definitely want that to be displayed. If there's anything I want to see, it's going to be that. And just having a little trouble here getting that to show up. We're gonna go back on track and just keep driving a little bit and figure it out later. This is Sean removing the seat Edwin had in there, which is a lot smaller than the seat I need. I couldn't fit in that seat, so we had to get something else. And he puts a plate down at the bottom during the installation process. And you can see the new seat doesn't fit in there. It's too wide. So he's gonna have to take the seat stays, which is a blue part of the frame that attaches to the seat, and push those out a little bit to make it a little wider so the new seat will fit in there. You can see him making that adjustment there and widening those seat stays. The silver ones are called seat struts. And you see now the seat fits in there. He gets it looking just right, and then he'll take some measurements and make sure that it's to his liking. I've never seen anyone install a seat before, never watched it from start to finish, so this was new for me as well. But Sean has a lot of experience in karting. He's run several race teams and does a good job, knows what he's doing, so I think I'm in good hands here. And here's adjusting the brake pedals for my height. He's already adjusted the accelerator, so this feels a lot better. This is gonna be session number 2. During the break, I messed with the micron and tried to mess with and change some of the customized settings so it displays the data on the screen that I wanna see. So I'm gonna see if that works. Quick wave right there to one of the karting dads. Always good to see mom and dads out there supporting their kids in karting. Definitely a family-oriented sport. I'm gonna push the cart a little harder this time as well. Look to the right, it's all clear, and here we go. So one thing I was definitely doing here is not pushing it to the absolute limit, not trying to set my personal best lap on here or break any records or anything like that. I'm just driving the cart and getting a feel for it. So I am going to push it, but not too much to where I cause an accident and run off track or do anything and damage the cart. That would be the worst case scenario for me, especially the first time I'm driving this cart. Here's an example of what I mean right here. So I started to slide pretty bad. Instead of staying in it, I just roll off the throttle, let the slide stop, and just drove out of it and kept going. No reason to push it. As mentioned before, I bought this cart from Edwin, who was there literally from day one of my karting. He was there the very first day that I test drove an LO206 with, it was him, Paul, and myself here at Dallas Karting Complex. And he's been along my the whole time I've been karting, so he's been really helpful. He bought this cart and just decided for whatever reason he didn't want to race anymore. And I heard he was selling it, which coincidentally I was looking for another cart. So it all worked out. I think I got a really good deal out of it. So thank you, Edwin, but I hope that he comes back and races again because it's just a lot more fun having him around, and he's a good racer too. All right, we're driving behind this other driver here, and we'll come around and we'll do a silent lap behind him. You can tell on the straightaway that I'm not going full throttle. Since I'm not getting an EGT reading, I don't want to go full throttle on it. I'm going to have to buy a new cable because I can never get this one to come on and work. It's going to be north of $100. It comes in 2 pieces. So in karting, it's always an expense, it seems like. I just wanted to come out here and burn some fuel, use up some tires, but now I have to buy this cable to make sure that my kart is functioning properly. That's just part of it. All right, I'm going to show you what the new track under construction looks like at this point, and I'm going to come back and tell you what I think about this kart overall compared to my Sodi Kart. This is a construction of the south track, and it looks like it's just about ready to be paved. Now, I've been told that this is going to be the club members track and the north track is going to be the rental track, but I think they've also said too they're going to kind of swap them out and make this a rental for a little bit, and then the other one the club track for a time being as well. Here's some photographs provided by the great Tommy. You can see the track under construction on the right. It seems to be a little bit wider than the north track on the left. And if you look in the middle, it looks like a sideways Roman numeral 2. They can combine both tracks and make one big mega track, so that's going to be really cool. On the very bottom left of the track that needs to be paved, that turn there is going to be, I believe, 25 degrees. It's going to have 25 degrees of banking, so that's going to be really, really cool. DKC sells Lando karts, and these are identical to mine. And they also sell Sodi karts as well, and you can see the Red Bull sticker kits and a matted finish. Looks pretty cool. So you can get a kart from them, new or used. Now, my overall thoughts for the kart, can I tell a big difference between this Lando kart and my Sodi kart? No, not really. This is only one day in this kart, still getting used to it. I seem to fit pretty well in it, which I really like. But I've driven that Sodi kart for several years, and I'm just not good enough to be able to tell you with minute details how this kart feels compared to that one. I'm just not there yet. One difference I could tell though is the feel of the steering wheel. On my Sodi kart, that steering wheel is bigger than the one on this Lando kart, and it feels like I just have more leverage on the kart with the bigger wheel. Now, the one thing I do like about this Lando wheel more though, it's a little bit thicker, and it does have a lot of grip in that blue part right there that I'm holding onto. That feels better than the Sodi steering wheel. For those of you that are going to buy your very first kart, or maybe you've already purchased it, you just haven't driven it yet, it's going to be a really big thrill the first time out. I remember my very first time out in the LO206, which was my very first kart. It was a big thrill, nothing like driving your own go-kart for the first time. So I'm excited for you, and I'm sure those of you that drive, hopefully you remember the very first time you drove your very first kart. When I bought the shifter kart, which was my second kart, that was a big thrill because it was a big jump, a huge jump in just power and experience. And I remember what that felt like too, and that was super exciting. When I got my Sodi 100cc kart, I'd driven 100cc a few times, so that was still a thrill because it was just a different kart. Driving this one probably wasn't, as far as gauging them with the other 3 karts, it wasn't as big of a thrill as the other 3 because I knew what to expect with like power-wise. It was just a difference of being in the kart. Now, as much as I say that, I also want to say that it's still exciting to have your own go-kart and drive it for the first time. It just feels a little bit different because I knew what to expect. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button if you liked it. It helps other people see this video. Also, leave me a comment below. Let me know what it was like driving your first kart for the very first time. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.